Flight bus, bitch, you know, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind of an Antares Moon. I'm the Archangel Uriel. I'm 100%, and I'm here to carry out God's duties and motherfucking responsibilities to instead of, I'm 750, 1080%. Yeah, I forgot. We picked up different, our antennas picked up certain senses and frequencies from other different places in the universe that made us rise above that 100% shit. You know what I'm saying? We've been, you know, computers couldn't go past 100% for a while because it's a computer that we created. And since we live in a 360, see, people don't understand all this is a significance. Like, we're something supposed to load 100%, it's supposed to load to 360%. That's our fear of reality. Now, we're picking up different, our antennas is picking up frequencies from different dimensions and different spheres of realities that in these spheres of realities and these dimensions, it's allowing more than a 360 sphere of reality. And theirs is, they got 750, 1080, you know what I'm saying? So we picked up, we elevated and we picked it up like we're elevating as you guys are as you guys see, when I start attaching myself, I start fucking up on my words and shit like that because I can't really do that. But a lot of times when the collective consciousness of the world is elevating, their antennas start picking up the sensories and the frequencies of other places. Just like your car. If you finna drive, you know what I'm saying, you go to another area out of that radio frequency and start picking up the other frequency waves. You know what I'm saying? We as a whole, the collective consciousness has risen to a certain degree that for some time now we done elevated and picked up sensories from spheres of realities and dimensions that have 1080 1080 degrees of spheres of realities. And we took that information, processed it, and through our computers, now we're able to see things in 1080p. Now there's other things now, higher than that, because we're elevating. This is not by chance. As above, so below. As below, so above. As right, as left. As left, as right. You know what I'm saying? Just because you think that as a collective we came up with something that we put in a new phone, don't think it's a coincidence. We only start coming up with that information, how to build on that, because we're elevating, picking up the frequencies and the sensories from above. It go hand in hand. Hand in hand. You need this, you need that. You need yin and you need yang. That's exactly that good ass segue for me to come right into this motherfucker video. This is another little series I'm gonna start too. It's called When Opposites Clash. Cause everybody wanna talk about when opposites attract. And you need both. So let's talk about when motherfucker opposites clash. Therefore, when you do run into your opposite and you think everything all good, you're gonna have your mind open to what you could run into bad. And a lot of times you know what I'm saying, you come in cahoots and energies and come into the frequency field of your opposite sign. A lot of times it start off bad. And then right here, this will let you know how to look forward to if it's something good. You know what I'm saying? So, or if you even want to waste your time. You know what I'm saying? So let's get, instead of how opposites attract, motherfucker, how opposites clash. Let's get it, motherfucker. So alright, look. Let's start off with the first polar opposites, which is Aries, Libra. Aries and Libra. So let's see how they clash. Now, knowing how they clash, we gotta look at the basic archetypes and the basic temperaments of these signs. You have a fire, which is the feeler, the seer, and you have the air, which is the thinker, the communicator. So what's going on right here? You have Cardinal. Now you have Cardinal. They both initiate what they do. So they do what they do for themselves. Just like the fire signs. You have Cardinal, Mutable, Fixed. Now the difference between Cardinal, Mutable, and Fixed is Cardinal initiates. It starts and it creates for its own point of view of it. So it initiates that form. So if it's fire, water, air, you know what I'm saying, earth, dust, lava, you know what I'm saying, clouds, or dust, lava, clouds, or steam. Now, if it's any one of them 8 elements, then the way it plays it out is through the temperaments. Now, see, now with the cusp temperaments, you got a lot of mutable, cardinal, mutable, so it plays both ends to a certain degree. Now, when we just talk about the regular four, which is fire, air, water, and earth, what happens here is when the cardinal fire, which means it's going to initiate what it see. initiate its visions, initiate its intuition, initiate its imagination, initiate how it sees things. Now, the fixed fire is going to have its own outlook on how it sees things, and it's going to see itself first. And it's going to take time before it see the perceptions of others, because it needs time to build on its own perception and its own outlook. Now, the mutable fire, it sees many different perceptions. You know what I'm saying? It sees many different vibrations. So you know what I'm saying? So it take as a whole to figure out it as itself personally, and that's the mutable fire, which is Sagittarius. The fixed fire is Leo. Then let's get into the cardinal, mutable, and fixed of the water. Now you have the cardinal water. Now I just want to break this down, because now I'm starting to realize I have a lot of viewers that doesn't necessarily know as much as a lot of others in my viewers. So sometimes I feel like I might do a video, but sometimes I feel like I'm starting here and I didn't even explain here yet. And it's like I got a lot of viewers that's still here. So if I'm making videos that's here and only a few people will understand here, it's like I'm not doing the groundwork. So that's why I like to do videos elaborate and just go off talking. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like, okay, the water, cardinal, fixed, mutable. Okay, now the cardinal is Cancer. So what's the water? Water is the emotional and the feelers. Not the seer and the feelers like the fire. It's the emotions and the seer. I mean, it's the emotions and the feeler. So what they feel dictate their emotions. With the fire, what they feel dictate how they see things. You know what I'm saying? So now with the water, you have cardinal water. Now you have Cancer. So Cancer is going to initiate its own outlook on how the emotions supposed to be played out, on its emotional state. That's why a lot of Cancers are comedians. That's why a lot of Cancers are funny. That's why a lot of Cancers sometimes seem too reserved to the point that you can't get to them, because they're putting up a guard. And then when you do get to them, they let you in. And if they really let you in, and you show them an action that's letting them feel like they shouldn't have let you in, you're gonna catch that snap. So, you know, with the Cancer, they initiate how they feel about things. You know what I'm saying? And they don't really care about how others may be emotionally feel about it, because they're more concerned about their emotional grounding first. Now, when we get to the fixed water, the fixed water is Scorpio. So this is like ice. This is the water form being frozen, or being real still and not being rapidly moving, not because it's so deep. For an example, a rock on the top of the water and you float it, you can see the riffles in the water. A rock at the bottom of the water, it might not even move. It might not have moved for hundreds of years. It might have moved just a couple inches, because it's stuck, it's sturdy, it's stuck in its own ways. So with the emotions of the Scorpio fixed emotion, with their feelings, their emotion, they like to stay stuck on the emotion until they transform it, rise above it, go through it, or stay deep down dark in it. And when they stay deep down and dark in it, that metaphysically plays out as a person holding a grudge. So a lot of Scorpios may hold a lot of grudges that a lot of people may not know. When they rise above it, that's when they can openly express their feelings without having to feel like they're always being reserved by others. Or if they just go with the flow, like they can try, they can kind of be here and there with it. You know what I'm saying? They can kind of sometimes play the evaporation game to the point that the water can act like an air sign, or sometimes they can play the cardinal game where they force a move and they force their own emotion on someone else. So they oppose another person's opinions or something like that. Or that's how it would play out metaphysically. So that's the fixed water. Now when we get to the mutable water, this is Pisces. So this is like being the shore itself, not deep down in the shore, and not seeing the shore for what it is, but being on the shore itself, going with the flow, seeing the collective conscious of the emotions, and going with how the room feel, and how others feel, and how things should be approached, and how situations should be approached, and how conversations should be approached, based off the feeling, based off the energy, based off the psychic tenuality that the freaking Pisces know they have. When they could just walk in the room and be like, okay, this type of person, so I'm gonna come across pleasant to this person. Oh, this kind of person, so I gotta make sure I'm hard and tough around this person, so this person don't try me. Oh, this type of person, I can let my guards down with this person. This is Pisces right here. This is Pisces getting into the feeling, jumping into the room, jumping into your soul. seeing where you at, and then they can assess how to adjust the situation and go with the flow and be themselves once they understand the surrounding of it. You know what I'm saying? They absorb. The circumference. So boom, that's the mutable water. Now when we get to we want to get to the earth. Now let's get to the earth. Now earth, cardinal earth, you know what I'm saying, is the the initiator. Now what is earth? Earth is the thinkers and the common sense, the practic, and they bring it into practicality. So unlike the thinkers, unlike the air is the thinkers and the communicators, and the earth is the thinkers and the practicality and the common sense of it. You see how it's like a little dynamic here? It's like everything is the opposite. I don't want you to think just because you're a water sign, for some reason, earth is going to be your opposite. No, every element is the opposite. Like if you make a chart, I want you to do this. If you make a chart, right? Put fire here, put fire on top, right? Water on bottom, because those are the actual opposites. And air right here and earth right here, because that'll be the actual opposites, right? Before it get trickled down on earth till it become like a sextile and a yin yang type of thing on earth. See, air and fire is only yang from an earth perspective. When you start rising your consciousness and start elevating and start seeing things as a whole, you'll start to break down the yin and yang into everything. You know what I'm saying? And earth and water is yin, only from an earth perspective. So only from a human or animal sight and the relationship it has on earth. But none of these elements look like this if it wasn't on earth. They look like something else. It's just the relationship it has with earth is why I look like that. Now, you know what I'm saying? Now when you break down the yin and the yang with the yang signs, air will be yin, and then fire will be yang, right? And then when you break it down with the yin signs, yin will be water, yang will be earth. So fire, earth, yang, and then water, air, yin. Now that's when you rise to the second level of consciousness. This is when once you start getting into the fourth dimension. Now once you start getting into the fifth, sixth, and seventh dimension, fire and water is complete yin. Air and earth is complete yang. Now, there's a science behind that. It's only for me though, but it's a science behind that. But it makes sense. Here's why. Because from an earth perspective, earth is the land you're on. And we're on earth. We're on Gaia. We're on Tara. This is earth. You're on there. You're on earth, right? And what consumes earth? Air. Air. So earth and air signs are really the most prominent of physicality when it comes to having life. You need air. Without air, you won't be able to breathe. And without earth, physicality, you won't able to be grounded. Water and fire is etherical. We talk about third level consciousness now. We talk about fifth, sixth, seventh dimension now. I broke down the all the way up to 4 and then to 4 dimensions. I'm talking about this now. When earth and air is the yin. I mean and the yang, and you know what I'm saying, I already broke that down. Look, now when we're talking about it now, right? Fire is your passion. Water is your emotions. Air is just something. It's the communicator, but it's like, all right, check this out. This is why air and earth signs rule the earth, because earth is what you're on. Air circumference and is everywhere around earth. Water goes deep to the point that it contracts with the moon and it's in outer surface. It's like a mist, right? It becomes outer surface. Fire isn't on earth, period. When we're talking about 5th, 6th, and 7th dimension, fire is not on earth, period. You know what I'm saying? So they're not here. That's something you have to grab. For someone to get passion for something, you have to grab that deep down inside. When you have an intuition about something, you have to grab that deep down inside. When you have a serious insight about something and a vision about something, you have to grab that. That's not something that's here for you. When you got deep emotions or something like that, it's the air and earth things that's making you feel certain things. The wind might blow a certain way. Certain things in the air, certain toxins, certain chemtrails, boom, 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 they throw certain shit in the air. Your life circumstances, where you live at, earth, the foundation you on, all that cause you to feel a certain way. But when you just feel that's water. That come from somewhere else. See? Now, earth and air are the thinkers, because earth is the thinkers on a practicality level, air is the thinkers on a communication level. But see, when fire rises way above earth. When water absorbs, it absorbs way more than what could be contained on earth. It could, you put a glass of water and look at the different reflections, all that is memory. Memory. You know what I'm saying? Now when we get to air and earth, reason why they the thinkers is because, okay, earth, say something in your life, bills. Say you got a lot of bills, right? The earth sign's gonna wanna work towards getting that bill paid, step by step. And they're not gonna feel right or feel comfortable till that bill get paid. The air sign is gonna be thinking of different ways about that bill. But it never leaves the stratosphere. Like, you get what I'm trying to say? Air is in the sky, yeah. But air is everywhere. It consumes earth everywhere. Just like earth is everywhere where you at as a human being. Right? So as air, what air is communicating, air is not communicating anything else but earth things. And earth is not practicalizing anything else but things that can be in the air. Things that could be in the air. Like when people put things in the air. For an example, somebody want to ride to work, right? But they don't want to actually ask you. So they just say something like, damn, wish I had a ride to work. That's metaphorically putting something in the air. So whether you pick it up or not and sign a contract and apply to their situation that they're trying to throw in the air, that's on you. Dust signs are masters at putting things in the air. Dust signs are air and earth cusp. You know what I'm saying? But look, for an example, putting something in the air. You know what I'm saying? So the things that air signs is communicating is a bunch of earth type of stuff. So they communicate and they get abstract and thoughts and go. So for an example, a fire sign or a water sign. Say the fire sign, you get this deep ass passion and you get this big ass grandeur idea. And say you as a water sign, you got this big ass imagination and this creative ass shit that you could put together, but you don't think it makes sense, right? Now go to an air and earth sign. This is how they opposites when it's back on earth. Now the earth sign is gonna look at you like, okay, the fire sign, yeah, that's real creative. You got a big ass idea, but we ain't got the money to do that. We ain't got the means to do that. It doesn't make sense. Common sense, boom. Now when they look at the water sign with its passion, it's gonna be like, okay, that it really don't make sense. We don't have a foundation, or we don't even know where to start, or we don't even know who the right people to talk to for that to even be expressed right. So go somewhere and get that done right. Now the air sign, this what makes them a little bit more communicative because it's more rapid, it's more fast, but they're communicating about the earth. So the air gonna take what the earth dude's saying and just come up with a bunch of ideas about that. Like, okay, yeah, we don't always necessarily need money to do this, but we can do it this way or this way. Or yeah, that don't necessarily make sense, but everything don't necessarily have to make sense in this world. See, that's where the air sign come in. It's like the air sign is the blend, not the blend, but they like the kind of the in-betweeners and the relationship between the etherics, which is the fire and the water, and the earth and the air. You know what I'm saying? It's like once you start going way too far to an air sign gonna be like, that's not rational. That's not making no sense. Because even though air be in the sky, it's still consumed about earth. There's no air outside of earth. There's no air in space. So once you start talking about being a flight boss and being a pilot man and flying here and, oh, it's grand, a flight's that, an air sign gonna be like, oh, wait, you're going a little too far. You're going a little too radical. So in that sense, fire rises higher than air, but from an earth perspective. Now I want to bring back to my first sense. My first sense is this. I want you to make a chart, right? Now the chart, like I said, put fire here, water here, air here, earth here. Now put a square in the middle, right? Now in between the air and the earth, no, in between the fire and the air, right? You're gonna have dry, right? In between, and then in between the air and the water, you're gonna have wet. So dry and wet is opposites. Now when you do the other way around, you're gonna have cold and hot. So in between air and water, you're gonna have cold, and in between fire and earth, you're gonna have hot. So, and that'd be the square in between the dynamic triangle. So you know what I'm saying? You need, every element is an opposite. Just because you are air and you think fire your opposite, no. Earth and water your opposite. All elements are opposite to each other. And when they all blend in, it creates other elements and energies, which is us. You know what I'm saying? And which is the cuss signs, which is the lava, the cloud, the steam, you know what I'm saying? And the dust. So you know what I'm saying? That's all breaks down, man. But getting into the cardinal of the earth, and the mutable and the fixed of the earth, cardinal earth, you know what I'm saying? That's like, cardinal earth is this. Cardinal, now, like we said, it's the thinker and the practicality. Unlike the air, the thinker and the communicator, earth is the thinker and the practicality. And like the fires, the fire and the water is the fillers. The fire is the filler and the seer. The water is the filler and the emotions. So when we get to the earth, it's the thinker and the practicality and the common sense of it. So when we get to the Capricorn, which is the cardinal, it initiates its own common sense. So a lot of times, this is why Capricorns don't make sense to a lot of people. Because they're thinking about common sense, but they initiate and come up with their own common sense, and a lot of times the collective consciousness don't always agree with it. But this helps Capricorns too, because this makes them good in business, because they know how to create new business structures, new business goals, new business tactics. You know what I'm saying? New grounding foundations, because they came up with their own common sense about it. Now let's get to the fixed earth, which is Taurus. Now the fixed earth is stable and it stays fixed in its own practicality and common sense. So anytime you practice something long enough, you get perfect at it. The fixed quality is what makes Tauruses masters of the five senses. All earth signs think about the five senses throughout their life, but Taurus are the masters at it, and then they got Venus here, the sensual planet. So right here, you know what I'm saying, Taurus is being fixated on its own practicality. It's being fixated on its own common sense level. So it sees things the way it really is, and it doesn't allow anybody to try to initiate some new type of common sense like the Capricorn, or try to initiate somebody else's common sense to help, which is the Virgo. No, it got its own stable way of looking at things. It doesn't like to be changed. This would even makes them the most stubborn out of all the fixed signs, and makes them most stubborn out of all the signs in general. You know what I'm saying? But it helps them because, like I said, anything you take time and practice on, you get perfect. So this makes them not make a lot of mistakes in life, because they took the time to think about the right necessary way to do it. And they ain't let nobody come try to mix things up or be spontaneous or make things start to feel uncomfortable or unstable to the point that we got to retract. No, we're going to stay grounded where we is, and we ain't going to do it if it don't make sense. That's motherfucking Taurus. Now let's get to the mutable earth, which is Virgo. Now mutable earth, Virgo, now how they play out the practicality